been in a situation where you know that you offer a good service and you know that it's something that people need, and you know that if people would start using your service, it would save them so much time and trouble, but nobody's signing up. And it's really frustrating. No one's signing up to your email list, and they're definitely not buying what you have to offer, even though you know it could help them. And it just kills you. It just makes you feel so sad that people aren't taking advantage of the fact that you want to help them and that you can help them. So welcome to the Online Business Launchpad podcast. It's really great to be talking with you today about something that I really struggled with when I first started my business. And that is what to do when you've got a handful of customers, but not quite enough to keep you fully busy. And you want to grow and you've tried everything, but no one's knocking on your door. So as I said, when I first started my business, I had the same thing happen to me. I knew I could help people because I'd already helped a lot of people for free, of course, as you do when you're first starting out. And I'd had a few paying customers, but I wanted more customers, and I was sick of getting crickets, nothing, whenever I reached out to tell people about what I did. And, I felt like giving up so many times, but I finally decided that I hadn't tried everything that I could try yet. And I didn't want to be that person that gave up just before they succeeded. So I read a lot of stuff to figure out what to do, and I tried all kinds of things, most of which didn't work. And that made me really frustrated. And I talked to a lot of people, most of whom had different experiences and different skill sets. So their advice didn't always translate well into my situation. But slowly, over time, I started to figure out what the problem was and why I wasn't getting people connecting with how I could help them. And once I knew what the problem was, I started to fix it. And slowly but surely, I started getting traction, and my business and my customer numbers started to grow. And it's really interesting to me that a lot of other online businesses, they've struggled to get traction for the exact same reason that I did. And it's all down to a common mistake that people who want to be helpful, like I did, make. Now, just to be clear, people who want to help other people have big hearts. They want other people to experience the same solutions and benefits that they've received, and they want to share the love, so to speak. But here's the thing, and this thing is the mistake that I was making, and that is that the people I wanted to help did not know that they had a problem. Or if they did know that they had a problem, they couldn't see how what I did could help them solve their problem. So I spent all my time doing all the right things, creating content, fixing up my website, posting on social media, but I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I was trying to convince people that they needed what I had to offer. And I can tell you, based on that experience, that trying to convince people they need your products and services is a mug's game. For a solopreneur or a small business, it is a huge, huge waste of time and effort, which is a shame because there were all those people out there who did need and want what I had to offer, but they just hadn't met me yet. And there were a few other issues as well. And because I know that there are other people out there who really do want to grow their business, but they're not sure why the customers are staying away in droves, I thought I'd put together some tips for turning things around. And here they are. The first one is that if you're working frantically to create lots of content or spend money on ads or whatever it is you're doing right now to get customers, give yourself permission to stop what you're doing. Just stop. Then schedule in some time, preferably a day, to review what you've been doing so far. And don't feel guilty about it. This is what's known as working on your business instead of in your business, doing lots of tasks. And it's a really, really important thing to do on a regular basis, is to set aside time to work on your business. And then step number 2 is, as part of that review, you need to create a visual picture of what your funnel looks like so you can see how all the bits fit together. Now, this will help with the next steps, and it's going to show up any gaps that you might not have realized were there. Now, remember that a funnel is simply the process that you use to make people know that you exist, that you have something that can help them, and can get them to the place where they buy from you, and then they become raving fans on your behalf. Next, as part of the review, take a look at the content you've created already. Take a look at your website copy, your emails, your social media posts, your lead magnet or your free giveaway that you use to get people to sign up to your list. You're going to look for two things. The first thing is any whiff of anything that sounds like you're trying to convince people they have a problem and that they need you. And the second thing is checking that you have calls to action in your content and that your calls to action are clear. Now remember, you want to only have one call to action at any one time so people don't get confused. But the reason you need to check that you've got calls to action in your content is that sometimes people don't realize that other people are only just waiting for an invitation. And if you don't give them that invitation, they're just not gonna come to you because they, for whatever reason, they feel like maybe you don't want them, or they're not good enough, or there's all kinds of crazy ideas why people don't come to visit your site or come and ask you for help if you haven't given them an invitation. Now, the third thing that you want to do is that once you've had a look at what's already there in your funnel, it's time to have another look at who your avatar or your ideal customer is. And you should be asking yourself a few questions like these ones. Do I really understand the problem my ideal customers are dealing with and the pain that it's causing them? Do I really seriously understand that? Do I really know how important it is to them to solve this particular problem? If it's something that's just like they just need a little Band-Aid, then that's not a big problem. They're not going to worry about it. It has to be a bleeding neck problem, one where if they don't deal with it immediately, it's going to cause them a lot of grief in their life. You want to ask, do I know the language they use to describe their problem? And do I know the keywords that they use to find help for that problem, to solve that problem? Now, the fourth step is that if the answer to even one of those questions is no, it's time to start doing some research. And my team and I have a very specific process we use to find out more about our customers and the problems that they want help with. And we teach our Online Business Liftoff program participants how to use this process too. Now, like most good processes, every step is very simple to do. And it's a process you can use again and again and again as your customers' needs change. And here it is. We start by using Google to do keyword research. Now, what that means is we create a list of words and phrases that we think our customers would use to find information about their problem using Google or some other search engine. And then we test out our list of words, keywords, and keyword phrases to see if that actually is the way people are describing their problem. And then we refine the words until we get the right ones. And if we can't find the right words, then we know that either we're not thinking like our customers, or our customers don't think that they have that specific problem. And at that point, we go back to the drawing board to find another problem or another way of describing that problem. And then once we've got the right words for how people are describing their problems, then we put together 5 very simple questions based on those words, and we start asking people we think are our ideal customers to answer those questions. Now, there's lots of places that you can ask these questions. You can ask people face-to-face, or in these days of COVID-19 lockdown, on a Zoom call or an online discussion. You can just ask them those questions and then pay really close attention to what they say. Or you can write people emails and ask them the question. You can post on social media and ask people to respond to your questions. Or you can actually go into forums and groups and ask people those questions one at a time and see what they say in response to it. And you'll know fairly quickly by the responses that you get whether you're on track or not for being able to describe the problem that they have, or whether they even have that problem. They might tell you, well, that's not a problem for me. That's not something I struggle with, but I do struggle with this. And so you want to pay attention to that. So as we talk to people, we listen very carefully to what they say, and we especially pay attention to the emotion-based words that they use. So words like struggling or frustrated or annoying, anything that describes what they're feeling. And then step 5, once we've finished our research, or we've done enough research to start seeing recurring patterns that happen again and again, we start seeing similar words or similar themes or topics or problems. Then we go back and we check our content, our website copy, our social media posts, our emails, etc., to make sure that how we talk about those problems matches the language that our customers are using. to describe that exact same problem and how they're feeling about it. And then step 6, the next thing we do is super, super important. We take a look at our products and services to make sure that what we're offering is actually something that does make a difference for our customers based on the problems they are experiencing and that they want help with. Remember, a Band-Aid problem is not really a problem. A bleeding neck problem is something that they need help with. So now I just want to just remind you that this technique's not new. I first learned it from a guy named Ryan Lebeck, who wrote a book entitled Ask. And Ryan's a very successful online marketer, and he's helped start and build over 20 very successful online businesses. I've talked about him on my podcast before because we use his methods and they work. And if you want to check out the book Ask, there'll be a link in the show notes so that you can go and check it out and have a look to see whether or not you think it could help. So those are the steps that we use and the processes that we use to basically make sure that what we're doing reflects the language that people are using to describe a problem that matters to them, and that we're providing the products and services that they need to actually resolve that problem. And those are the steps that you can use to actually start getting people coming to you for help. If you're at the stage where you're basically struggling to get traction and you're wondering why people aren't coming to get help from you. So I can promise you that if you take action and you do that process that I've described to you, that 7-step process that I've described to you, that you're going to start seeing more interest in what you have to offer. And why is that? It's because you'll be describing people's problems using language that they use and recognize, and you'll be giving people what they need, not what you want to give them. You've got to do this complete mind shift where it's not all about you. It's actually all about them and what they need. Now, obviously, there has to be a match between what they need and what you can give. But if there is a huge mismatch, it's better to know it so you can find something else that you can help people with instead of wasting all your time on something that people are just never going to buy from you. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, Trudy, you said it was a simple process, a really simple process, but I'm so confused. I actually don't even know where to start. Well, if you thought that, then we can help. Our Online Business Liftoff membership program gives you access to us and our training on how to truly, deeply understand your customer, their problems, and how they talk about their problems. And most importantly, we teach you what to do with that knowledge so that you can start to grow your business and know that all that effort you're putting in to helping people is going to get noticed. It's going to be valued, and people are going to start asking you for help, and they're going to be willing to pay you for it. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please share it with someone you know that it would help too. They will be grateful, and I will be too. So until next week, all the best, and never, ever, ever, ever give up.